What's going on, everybody? My name's Eric, this is Fatal RPM, and we're heading over to the garage at the moment to get to work on the Z. Now we're going to just do a little bit of body work. We're not doing too much in this video here. I just want to finally get something out there, seeing as how I haven't really posted a video here in quite a minute. So we're about to pull up here in a second, but when we get there I'll show you exactly what we're going to get done. And that is this. So we are going to be working on keeping these, I'm just going to call them buckets from here on out, but we're going to be working on keeping these buckets here nice and flush. Now I had actually come in the other day and kind of worked on this a little bit just to see how it would work out, and I did not know this prior, but I was in here and I didn't intend to work on the Z whatsoever because I want to record absolutely everything I do for this car just so that people have some type of documentation, everyone else who's trying to build this car and whatnot, and also I like to see the journey. But I was in here for something else and I don't remember what exactly. I think I came in here to test the Hall effect sensors for the cranking camshafts for the Ross Performance Kit. And what ended up happening was I was looking at the bumper and I noticed that they had these little like seats here, and I saw the little metal plate you can actually see down there on that one, a little metal plate that sits under the bucket, and I'm like, that must give it support. And I'm standing here looking at this, I'm like, I wonder if that would help me with what with what issues I'm currently having with these as far as this part aligning and stuff. And sure enough, I take it after a little fighting, this is what we're left with, a perfectly level, perfectly sturdy bucket. And like, this looks so much better. The gap obviously is going to need some tweaking, but that's also because there's no mounting point here yet. It's still on the other bumper there, and we have to transfer that over, which we'll get to whenever we're going to finally finish up the front part here. But this also is helping me align everything with the hood, because I want to wait to start the engine stuff, because I'm going to pop off the hood because I want to try and pull the engine just to make life a lot easier to work on it, especially when it comes to the exhaust stuff and everything there. And I might do a little more than I was initially intending, but I want to keep the hood on here so that I can align the body kit and everything to the car and make my life a lot easier. So what we're going to be getting done to here is we're going to go ahead and replicate what we did on the other side over here, because you can even see just by looking at the front of it here that it's much lower. Like, this one's halfway up the lens, actually probably a little bit past halfway, and this one is the exact opposite. It's a little bit below halfway in the lens. So I'm gonna go ahead, pull the bumper off. Once we get the bumper off, we're gonna go ahead and there's these little channels that we're gonna have to make on here. I'm probably also gonna flatten this out just a little teensy tiny bit, and then we can pull the plate off of that guy over there, transfer it over to the new bumper, and that'll make this fit so much better. Let's get to it. So this is what the plate looks like up close. So this is the part that goes under the bucket. Then it has 3 little studs here on the bottom that go into the bumper, and also another stud here on the side for this little stabilizing plate, I think is what it's for. But the issue with this is this little tab here on this plate keeps getting caught up on the bumper. Or not on the bumper, but on the body. So I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to try and just bend this in just a little bit, because that is more than enough space for the bumper to still slide in there. And this little tab here keeps getting caught, so I'm just going to try and squish it down a little bit. See if this helps. Oh god, that is too much. Oh my god, yeah. Alright, well, I'm going to have to use a pry bar. I'm going to try and tune this in just a little bit. See how it works. Oh, you know what? Oh, that's there to keep... Wait, why is that there? I don't know, think about it. The bumper goes between the plate, so I don't know why this is here. Is it for the little plastic piece? It honestly doesn't make any sense why it's there. Yeah, I don't know. I'm just going to squeeze it down. Get it out the way. Seems like my best bet. Pliers are. Oh, there's a little lump in here. Lovely. Snapped right off. That is the cleanest little snap off I've ever seen. Interesting. That's so bizarre. Cool. Alright. Oh, it didn't snap off. It's like set in here. Like, you see, like the plastic around it broke. So I might be able to sit it back in there. I don't know. I need to try and get this nut off first. I barely put any pressure on this thing and it started tilting forward. So these bumpers have, I'm assuming their plugs aren't that great, because look at all the Bondo. There you go. Look at all the Bondo that's here. Like, it's so much. That's at least an inch of Bondo. It's ridiculous. Ah, stop. I really don't care about the front of this thing because it's gonna end up getting redone anyway. I have to go over it with and do a whole bunch of body work, so not too concerned about scratching the front of it up if you're down there freaking out because it's on the ground twisting and falling and stuff. Alright, let me show you exactly what we just did. Oh my god, you're covered in dust. What we did here is we went ahead, made some notches in the body right there, and there. We also cut out this entire corner over here, because unlike this corner, which you can see went around this very easily, this corner did the exact opposite and did not. It was constantly interfering with the piece here. And seeing as how we don't have the little metal piece that we have over here, I'm gonna have to fab something up for this. But yeah, it's kind of fitting in there very well now. But we'll see how it looks with the plate and everything on there. Alright, so this is what it looks like with both of them on there. See, we got that one there, and we got that one over there. So now we can go ahead, put this on the car, and it should look pretty decent. Just go ahead and get this box out of the way real quick. Takes 2 holes. So this is what the end product looks like. Honestly, a pretty quick job, but now you can see how bad this side is compared to that side, because they're mounted exactly the same in the exact same points. But you can see, unlike this corner, which is pretty flush, like you don't really have to do much on that side to get this nice and flat, is terrible compared to that. Like that's the end of my thumb, like up to my nail, which is about, I won't say like a half an inch or so. Here, let's see. Come on, focus. Almost an inch. It's just over half an inch down. So this corner is going to have to get built up. We're going to bring it down to the same angle, but it definitely has to get built up. You can actually see from the inside over there compared to over here, it's definitely lower. So we're going to have to build that up, which is fine because we're going to have to do a lot of work. You can see this is the damage from it spinning and stuff on the front. It's not too bad. We also need to figure out some type of mount for under here. I might do like a little flat bottom part going just to like just under those toe hooks or something. I don't know. But what I do know is that this whole radiator setup's getting changed anyway. I just am curious to see what we're gonna put in here and how we're gonna put it in here. But what I do know is that I think now, with the way this is, we can actually mount the front crash bar. We just have to cut the ends off. Where is that crash bar at? We're just gonna have to cut these ends off because it looks like it will interfere, even though it might not because of these holes here. But it does look like it will interfere with this guy here. So as it stands, the mounting points for the bash bar or the crash bar are like right here. As if you can reach in and feel the struts. Like actually the strut is right at the end of this. So it's legit like right here. So yeah, it's feels to be about, I don't want to say almost 2 inches away. And depending on how thick this thing is, which I think is definitely thicker. Oh yeah, it's much thicker than 2 inches. I don't know. We're gonna have to have something else fabbed up for that. But in the meantime, that's how we're gonna have to do that. I don't know how, but I do want to put a splitter here on the front because I want a place to mount the oil or the little intercooler we have or the liquid cooler we have for the water to air, air to water, whatever it is, intercooler. I want to mount it either like right here or right here in the front, but we need something to mount it to, and what better to mount it to than a splitter? But we can't actually mount a splitter unless we have something to mount it to. So we need to figure something out for the crash bar up front so that we can put the rods going from the splitter up to the crash bar so that they have a firm mounting point, because this ain't gonna work. And we need to figure something out as far as solidifying this. But that'll have to be in a later episode. And I feel like where we stand presently is not too bad. The only thing I'm noticing is that you see the way that corner meets that black piece? It's the same over here. Oh, but yeah, the top part is actually below the black part, as we're over here, it is above it. So yeah, we'll just build that up about there, which we'll do at a later date. But one of the things that I want to do, that I want to get started on with the engine here pretty soon, is start pulling all the stuff off the front of the engine, start deleting a lot of stuff like the cruise control, a lot of these vacuum lines and stuff that we're not gonna really be using. We need to get the air conditioning drained, the system drained or evacuated, so that we can pull that and we can start mocking up the turbo, because we have that just chilling in the box over there. So once we can get that out, we can start mocking up the turbo. But before we do all that, I want to start getting the trigger stuff actually set up in here. And what I mean by the trigger stuff is, if you have not seen the video, I will link it right up there so that you can check it out, of all the parts and stuff pretty much that I have for the Z and that we will be installing on the Z. It's basically a big old parts list unboxing. But in there is the Ross Performance crank and cam trigger, which is what we'll be using instead of the distributor for the Z with the MS3X. So I want to get that figured out, because that's a very integral part to having this car running the way it needs to be running. But what I can say is that it seems like it's going to be relatively simple. However, there are some things that we have to get around. I've reached out to the company just to see, because it is meant for both VGs, so it's meant for, VG30, so it's meant for the Z31, VG30E/ET, as well as the DE and DETT. So the biggest difference between them being the DETT has their cast system, which means it actually has a place to mount a cam trigger, unlike this, as where we're obviously just working with a distributor cap here. So there's nowhere to mount a trigger, and it's just a single bolt going through the cam gear here on the front. And how the actual piece mounts on there is with 4 little bolts here, as you can see in there. You got those 4 bolts, and it has a little locating pin there. So I reached out to the company just to see what they recommend as far as mounting goes for the VG30, if they even have any recommendations. But I haven't heard anything back from them yet. I'm pretty sure I'll hear something back soon. They are in Australia, so it's kind of hard I can't just call them to see what's going on. But what I can say is that we are going to be getting this thing finally. We're finally getting some real work done on the Z here, instead of just body work. I just need to pull the trigger on it here, and we will be doing that soon. But as always, I want to thank you for watching. Go ahead and hit the like button. It helps out with these videos a lot, lets YouTube know that it's something that people would actually be interested in watching, and gets us the exposure that we need as a community. Also, don't forget to hit the subscribe button as well if you want to get notifications whenever I do upload a new video. Just click the bell and hit all notifications so you get those notifications. I say notifications a lot in that sentence. Anyway, as always, I want to thank you again. Peace out, and I'll see you in the next one.